Meeting to order.
Please bow your heads to me. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this time we can gather. Thank you for these people who are here to help our city and be part of solutions. I just pray you be with us tonight. You fill them with your spirit and help them to see your vision for Kennett and the beautiful things we can do in this community. Just give us great solutions and just be with us as we work and be a part of this community that we live in. In your son's name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In the package you have the minutes of the May 17th meeting. Motion approved.
Motion.
Second.
Any corrections? Please. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Committee reports, public safety.
Really the only thing I have underneath public safety is we'd like to seek bids for 4 storm shelters for the 3 fire stations and the DPS building. That's really all I've got.
Then we also talked about seeking bids on the disposable vehicles.
And we need to seek bids on the excess vehicles that we have. Wasn't sure exactly where we was on
Second.
those, with some of those. And with the excess police vehicles, I think there'll be some fire equipment, vehicles and that as well.
Second that motion.
Trying to get rid of some. And if, Randy, if you have anything, we can put that in there as well. I don't figure you have anything, just you use it till it's over.
That is a motion.
Yes.
You said that.
Second, yes.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Then we'll have those bids back at the next meeting, then we can go through them. Is that all we had? Just a lot?
Yes.
That's all I have.
Street Department?
We have 2 employees that we need to present for hiring. We're gonna save those to afterwards, closed session, or what do we wanna do?
Usually with public safety, we do that in closed sessions.
Right.
It's nice.
So we'll do a closed session, all right? So we've got 2 new in that, for that. We also have, opportunity to, we have 3 big pieces of equipment that are gonna need to be replaced. And, instead of replacing one, right now, we've got an opportunity to rebuild the backhoe, and we've got a bid on it. We took bids on it, and we've got a bid of a little over 19, about $20,000 for that, for the best bid on that. We do have enough room in our budget if we take out specifically the fuel right now. We've got enough money to get that done in this budget year. And then that would leave us with 2 big vehicles to replace, which are several $100,000, unfortunately, with those. So we view this as a good opportunity right now. So I'd like to make a motion that we accept the low bid on repair of the backhoe and take the money from existing budgeted items. Still,
Second that.
You have the bids?
yes, I do.
Can you tell me?
Yeah, it's, well, I gotta read it now. It is,
$19,000.
yeah, $19,820 from Riggs Cat.
They gave 2 different bids.
There's an option on the second one, in case there's an extra. It's hydraulic bypass in the backhoe. They're almost 100% sure it's happening in the cylinders that move the boom on the back. they won't know if there's another piece that needs to be fixed until after they rebuild those cylinders and put them back on there and see if it works. There is a control valve set up there that works the levers and stuff like that that could possibly be it. But the way the hydraulic pump sounds and all that, none of us think that that's it. Doesn't sound like the bypassing in there. But they gave us the figure just in case.
Roughly how much is that controller, if that
That's
was?
another $4,000, it's
$23,320
$23,320.
if it,
And we still have that within the budget as
Good.
well.
I'm good with it.
Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Second, okay.
Bunch of us.
Otherwise, we've got entering the busy time of year with the, all the work that's getting ready to happen. We'll go
Hopefully,
through that.
hopefully the asphalt company will be here Thursday. Probably just work Thursday and then probably be back one day next week.
Some of the newer equipment that we purchased the last year or so is really starting to pay off for us and help us work-wise. But I think committee-wise, we just gotta get back together again shortly and stay filled in on our situation. We're still looking at doing the 3rd Street project. That's a big item, so that's part of the budget discussion as well. That's all I've got.
Finance?
Well, we've spent lots of hours working on budgets, thanks to the department heads and everybody, the finance committee. And hopefully we have possibly a little time after meeting tonight, but we should have a good budget prepared and ready to present at the next council meeting for approval.
That'd be great.
Again, there you can't, and all these guys, Danny and Randy and John and David and these guys, we spent hours and hours sitting right here at the table. We had Tracy and Diane, that's just trying to make all the numbers fit, and it's like in pretty good shape, I think. All things considered, but we'll have some numbers for you to look at.
Okay, we got Jay over here, Human Resources.
I sent out an email to the committee members for human resource and to the department heads. We will try to get together in July after all the budget stuff's kind of calmed down and have a quick meeting and try to just touch base on how things are going as far as HR goes and the handbook possibly. And so I'll send out a date and give Diane on a date for that later on.
We do need to have a meeting restructuring of, the pay scales for, especially the police department, and, maybe even the other departments. I'm not sure about that, but
Okay.
at least that.
But thank you for letting us get through budget.
No problem. Don't want to freak nobody out.
And I haven't said anything to Diane, but in the future, I'd appreciate if the HR department would take over the handbook. I think that really belongs in HR.
Okay.
Yeah, y'all wanted me to write it last year.
Well, you got it off to a good start.
Found somebody in St. Louis.
Okay. Departmental reports. Mr. Carter?
Mine will be fairly brief. We've covered quite a bit of it there with the backhoe and possibly the hiring 2 people. We lost an employee, so we're still short another one. So by even hiring these 2 back, we're still going to be short. But today I've got one off sick, and we had 3 people on the street working. Danny and Shane were out doing a project. So piddling around a little bit too. The other good news is the sweeper's still down. keep one of the back wheels on it. And the weldment, as they call it, it's the piece that holds all of the weight coming down. It's got the spindles coming out of it. And he talked to them, but I believe they said if they could get the manufacturer, this is Elgin that built Sweeper, if they could get the people that built that originally, if they could get them to rebuild it, it might be 6 to 8 weeks before they could do that. So we got in today with $800, $900 worth of parts to try to put it back together again one more time. This is a 2008 Sweeper. They quit manufacturing parts for it in 2013. At the same time, they told us that the trade-in value just fell off the table. So, we're 3 years past that. We've had 2 other parts built in the machine shop over Crothers. So, we're starting to get into this time frame, looking at this type of stuff.
But a new one is 300,000 and up, so it's, you understand why we're struggling so hard to
Yeah.
put parts on it.
We don't like, try to put $800 in it, but, versus
It's too up in the budget.
possibly 6 or 8 weeks, and, if it's done, and then possibly have to spend some more with that, because that's not the hubs that hold the wheels and everything else, so we're gonna try some things to see if we can pull some magic off, see if Andy's got some magic in his hands to make this work. But that's basically it. A lot of the other stuff is budget stuff.
Outside of Elgin, is there anyone else that can?
Yeah, in fact, Sweeper, Bill quoted, is a different brand Sweeper.
But I mean, is there a?
Oh, yeah, there's
another
several.
source of parts?
We haven't found it. I mean, we don't doubt that there's an aftermarket somewhere. We don't doubt that there's a part like this laying on somebody's shelf, but, we're not finding it. They probably went to somebody to have this forged and made, and so, it's not a common part for everybody. The 87 model Sweeper we've got, the rear end, the whole thing's different.
Would you explain to them, I don't know if all of y'all understand why we have to use a sweeper, but it has to do with our lack of hills. And so would you tell them what the purpose of the sweeper is?
Well, the sweeper with our flat sandy terrain, every time you see the dust blowing, we're getting it on our streets. When we get a rain, it puts it in our storm drains and it puts it in our ditches. It's part of the stormwater plan. They want to know how many days the sweeper swept and how many tons of material we pick up. And that's part of the report that we send in every year on the stormwater plan.
So roughly, how much does that sweeper pick up? I mean, roughly a year, a month, or a run, or whatever?
Typically we will haul off the sweepings 3 times a year or something like that. And it's probably 120 to 180 tons 2 or 3 times a year.
That's what I was looking for. Thank
I
you.
mean, I can go back and get the figures, but I don't
That's good
remember.
enough
But
for
I mean,
me. I was just curious,
Put the
curious for the
primer all
public.
down.
we weigh 4 trucks, empty and full, 4 different times while we're hauling, but we don't weigh every load every time. We just take an average of that, to come up with that.
That's a lot.
But it's a lot, yes.
Okay.
If you go down for 6 to 8 weeks, is there something out there you can rent or lease in the meantime?
Yes, sir. I was looking online today for a few minutes.
We couldn't have community service people sweep.
Brooms are cheap, $800, we can buy a lot of brooms.
Well, Mr. Deary and I were working on getting the community service back, getting it in the community, but, that, we didn't really talk about sweeping the streets.
Holcomb used to have a street sweeper, and that was exactly what he did. I'm serious. John Tom? Oh, John Tom. He did.
But,
I just don't have a lot of
hopefully,
streets.
hopefully, it'll be next week before we even get to work on this, because of the workload we've got. But, we're gonna work on it, first of next week and see if we can put a little bit of magic on super glue with it and make it work.
But you can see
Thank you,
why
sir.
we want to keep it out of the system. It's a big drain.
Public safety?
I'd like to report tonight, ask you to remember Deputy Chief Kennett, his mother's not doing too well, that's the reason he's not here tonight. Waiting on the cars that they bidded to come in, hopefully in the next week or two, and basically, right now, we're trying to finish out this budget year and prepare for the next. So, any questions, what do you think? One thing we've had, and I'll say this, we've had a wet spring and early summer, so we've got a lot of areas, this Johnson grass has really got out of control, and there's a few areas that we've noted, but really just to mow Johnson grass spreads it, you need to kill it and then mow it, so that's what we're trying to do in some areas right now. And there's been more snakes reported this year than in the previous years, and that leads to damper climate, ditches being a little bit, drainage areas being a little bit fuller for them to spread out in. So, you know, we're aware of it, and you know, it just has to do with the elements that we're dealing with right now. So, but other than that, my crew's doing what they can, trying to keep up with the properties that the court has issued to be taken care of, in addition to the interest waived. And of course, right now, some of them we're not dealing with because of the construction. And that's the other thing on the fire station right now, they're grinding off and pouring every fire station, so that's a little bit of a delay, but they're working with us on it. They've left us the space to go down Airport Road, and as soon as the other gets reset, we'll switch it off. Just things in progress, pay a little debt for a little bit of luxury later down the road, so
Thank you for,
We didn't discuss it in that, your public safety committee meeting in there, but, of course, you know, I've been working on the septic system at the dog pound for a long time, and we have a bid. I put a copy in there, in your folder there for, from Ronnie Williams to run an additional 600 feet of field tile, whatever, but he went out and dug some test holes and whatever, but we're actually, if you look at that, we'll come off the septic tank, go east, and then run the tile back north, rather than across the old lagoon area. So, anyway, I'd like to, we discussed it with the finance committee, and I think the money's available in capital improvement, but we've lived with this nightmare for so long that I want to make a motion that we spend $7,000 and get the system fixed out there the way it needs to be.
second that. Is there any guarantee on the work?
With me and Mr. Williams, I'm sure there is, yes, sir.
I can go with that.
I make the motion, I'll say.
You're gonna have to start it.
I mean, and I know that it wasn't budgeted. Normally you would, you'd want to have a 2-week notice, but I think given the accident circumstance and whatever else, that we would like to get it done in this budget year.
and with the rainy weather, we've had to pump that septic tank more than what we anticipated because
And then,
it's slow to perk.
well, we may have, every now and then have to have it pumped. We're not going to have to schedule it on a monthly basis. So it'll offset some of the cost.
Roger, one question.
I don't have one of mine.
This sketch, this tank shown here, is this the south tank or the north tank?
South tank.
I think the north tank was the second one put in. I believe that's when the problem started. That's where the old grinder pump used to be.
Well, I mean, theoretically, we need to have them tapped together. I mean, I'm not sure what the detail is, but I still think the reason that the north one hasn't worked because we have a collapsed field tile or inadequate field tile because it only ran from there over to the levee. This does not even come close to handling the capacity of the water flow.
If it didn't permeate, or when they put it in, if they didn't dig deep enough, it didn't go through that bentonite clay that's on there.
Are we not able to handle both because of budgetary reasons? Did you say the north end needs some more?
They said it's
Not
not
this, all
together.
needs to be tied together so that it flows out.
And that's what's gonna happen within this?
I don't have details, I'm sorry. I know there are 2 tanks there.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
This, I don't know which department this is, that might even need to be under new business, but where are we at on the mosquito spraying?
I was gonna ask the same question.
I've been
getting
getting
calls
calls
about this.
I was under the impression last year that it started in May.
I'll call them and see.
If you can give me a number, I'd be more than happy to call them.
Yeah, well, they have traps at our 3 houses, and I don't know if they're basing it on what they're seeing.
The mosquitoes they're catching at your house, not helping me out of my house.
Well, there's one down the street from you
Who?
at Tracy, and the other one is in Watson Edition.
I got it.
Yeah, I mean, I was just under the impression it was like
What?
starting in May to September pretty much every year.
I'll call them and see what's going on.
I don't know, Nick, but
Yeah,
you
'cause I
would
thought-
keep your mosquitoes, I don't have any at my house.
It's not bad yet, but I know it's getting ready to happen.
We'll get monthly reports from him, won't we?
Yeah, we always have. I'm sorry. Like I said, I know, I'm sorry.
That was good.
I'm glad you did.
Employee handbook still in progress. Hopefully by the next council meeting, that will be ready for approval. No word from the county on the cleaning out of the ditches, so that's still in progress. John alluded to a while ago, we are getting some complaints about ditches being stopped up and water backing up. Of course, that's causing all the snakes to migrate to higher ground. So they're out there this year. Demolition bids, we have. Sorry, I know. What's that?
Let me see where I put it. No, not even. Okay. On the bids to tear down the houses that have already been approved for tear down, we had 2 bids. One is from Par Container, and it was for $34,026. And the other one was from David Ross for $23,500.
Motion to go to Ross.
It covers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Mr. Ross has done the work for us.